All right. Good afternoon. Now, where I'm at, it's Sunday, uh, June 1st. Yeah, we're June 1st, 2025, where I'm at. Just a little afternoon, Sunday. So, for my Diet Rebel Scum check-in, this is kind of what I've had planned for this channel whenever I launched it, is to, at the end of every week, to do a week review for the previous week and kind of go day by day and kind of review how did I do as far as like staying away from egregious carbs. And, I would like to confess, every time I do some kind of horrible, it's my phone. I need to silence my phone here. Let's see. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Silenced. Yeah, I'd like to check in every week and just do kind of a general rambling, just free speaking style, almost like a live stream. Eventually, I would like to do these live, just kind of because I freaking love live streams. I subscribe to quite a few people that do some now and then. So nice thing about live streams, it's like they're doing it right now. So it's kind of like you're live in the moment with people you follow. So I really enjoy that. So I'd like to do that sometime, but it'd be just like this. I'll do a separate video on my whole setup and studio, how I've been working on this for a while. So we'll keep this kind of short and to the point. Now, I could be wrong on some of this. It is really hard to remember what you ate, even on a carnivore diet, which is pretty much what I do. Carnivore with a few exceptions. Coffee, that's one exception. But it's kind of funny. My sugar, my biggest daily carb intake is actually from animal products. It's my whole milk. If you see, I've got 1 cup whole milk. I'm pretty much just going to put that on every day because I do make homemade lattes. I use about 1 cup of whole milk. I heat that and I kind of froth it a bit, heat it on the stove. I'm really doing it really an old school style. I used to have this little heater thing I got on Amazon, that milk frother. It actually heated and spun a little thing in the middle that kind of aerated the milk. So it really did really well until it didn't. It finally started conking out on me. So I really don't want to buy another one. Kind of want to just go old school. So I heat it up. And anyway, enough about that. Okay. But that's my carbs every day. That is about 12 grams. 1 cup of whole milk. I looked on the carton before I started this video to make sure, because I knew it was, I consider it kind of high, but boy, I tell you what, these carb, did I say I don't want to call them cheats? I don't want to call them cheats because I'm not really cheating. It's just kind of built into what I'm doing at this time. And so it's just kind of like my daily intake, but it's still, I think, in the grand scheme of things, in the whole low carb world, I think what I'm doing is still really considered low carb compared to, like, my lunch is a pound of beef and no fat gets left behind. I eat every damn bit of it because I cook my beef in the pan, and whether it's in a little slow cooker, crock pot over a couple of hours, or if it's in my big cast iron skillet, none of it gets left behind. I mean, I have a silicone spatula and I scoop all the little fat off the bottom of the pan into my bowl, and it all goes in this belly. And so that's 1,000 calories. If you're a calorie counter. Now, there's this whole thing going on in the diet, low carb diet, where calories are not really something to be too concerned about. And you may believe otherwise, and that's totally fine. I totally understand. So when I count calories, or I talk about calorie consumption, I'm taking those with a grain of salt. Because I kind of agree. A calorie is not a calorie these days, because the body treats different foods differently. So, if you're a listener of Bart K, he really hammers people about using the word calorie, because he's really, I'm a fan of Bart K, by the way. I'm a subscriber of his. I watch quite a bit of his content. Not everything every day. I subscribe to so many people, I can't keep up with all of them. So, like Dr. Ken Berry and Anthony Chaffee, I subscribe to all of them, but I only watch maybe one or two of their videos a week, something around there. And I may not, if they're doing like a whole hour, I may not get to them. But I consume a lot of people's content every day, various things. But anyway, so let's go through this real quick. This is a practice run. I just filled this out this morning. I could have missed something that I said in an earlier video. I've only been at this a few days. So I went ahead and put, at first I didn't have anything in as far as carbohydrate confessions for Sunday, Monday, and no, Tuesday I kind of think I did it. Anyway, so if I said I ate something like some candy-coated nuts was in there. Probably I mentioned those in one of my previous first postings. So those really should be on there. So if I ever leave something out on this weekly check-in, it's not intentional. I am all about confessing everything I do. So if I have an egregious ice cream binge, which has happened in the past. Oh, if you hear this, let's see if I can repeat this. Yeah. You hear that? Okay. I'm not making a rude noise. That is, maybe a rude noise, but it's not natural. This chair has it's the little lever that you lift to do the hydraulic thing. As I sit here and spin, I'm on my toes and my heel hits this bar and it just bounces it. I need to do something about that. Tie that sucker up or something. Okay, back to last week review. Okay, so I'm going to keep this spreadsheet going and I'll do a new one every week. Now, I wanted to do this. When I do this again, I'm going to say when. And that when, hopefully, I would like to do them on Saturday nights, because it would be kind of fun for me to look forward throughout the week to doing this free talk, just jibber jabber away about the previous week and whatever like fun or non-fun thing kind of happened diet and exercise wise. So I set out to do this last night, but I was busy all day with other stuff, and I didn't get around to it. And it was like, I don't know, 10:30, 11 o'clock last night. I sat down, and I was sitting here, and I was about to start setting up the screen and everything, and I was like, oh, I'm tired. So I just thought, to hell with it, I'll do it tomorrow morning. So I thought Sunday morning would be all right to do this. So now we're here. How long have I been rambling? 8 minutes and 51 seconds. Okay, sorry. Sunday. I didn't do any exercise, at least anything that I reported in my Garmin. So I got my Garmin activities pulled up here, and I'm looking, and I was kind of surprised. Yeah, no activity Sunday or Monday. Tuesday, stairs. When you see stairs, what that is where I work, we have a grand staircase in a building that's right across from our main older building. So it's right outside our cafeteria. You can look, and it's about I actually counted the height of the steps one time, and I can't remember. It's like the number of steps. But anyway, it's about 2 stories, what we call 2 stories. And there's, it goes up a few, quite a few steps, maybe like a flight of stairs. And then it has a little section that levels out for like 2 or 3 steps. And then it goes up again. And then there's another little flat landing. And then it goes up a third. So it's kind of like 3 sets of of stairs. It's not really 3 stories, although that building, those floors are pretty tall. But anyway, what I do on a lot of days is at lunch, at work, instead of going in the gym and doing something on the treadmill in the gym, this staircase is right outside our gym. And I will just go up, skipping every other step. I will kind of run up the steps at a nice little clip, like I'm actually in a little running motion. I actually have video of this. I may pull out sometime. I go up and turn around at the top, and because there is no more, it doesn't go any higher. It just goes up to this other big entrance to the building, and that's it. So it's like going up 2 stories, and then I come trotting back down, and then I turn around at the bottom, and I go up again. Now, my Garmin really doesn't, I don't do that on a run setting because the GPS isn't really effective because it's surrounded by buildings and it doesn't really register anything. It would just be a scribble on a map, a big scribbled dot, and it doesn't detect the incline. Like, I was really disappointed when I said it, and I thought I'm going to have for 45 minutes or so. It's kind of typically at the top of my game when I'm doing this kind of often. I'll do it for like 45 minutes if I have time. This is like at work, so there could be something come up where I'm not able to do this or do it as long, and I have to get back into the office and take care of things. So I don't always get a chance to do this consistently. But it's just running up and down the stairs, and keep my heart rate around in the 140 to 150 beats per minute range. That's kind of about what I'm doing. So it's almost conversational pace, almost. Like if somebody stops and is going up the stairs from our cafeteria back into this building, a lot of times somebody might stop and say hi, and I may stop and say a few words, and I can always talk to them. So I'm not doing this it's not like I'm running fast. It's not that kind of level. But that's what my stairs are, is just running up and down the stairs for roughly, I usually shoot for a minimum of 30 minutes, maximum an hour. I have done it for an hour before. So when you see stairs, that's what that is. Bike to work. So my normal bicycle route to work is about what you see there, 11.79 miles. The M is miles. Bike home, 11.23. So I may take a slightly different route that shaves off some distance. The minimum that my bicycle route to work or from work can be is about 10 miles. 10 miles on the money. I think one time came in at 9.9 something miles. But most of the time, if I just take the straight zigzag my way home from work, I don't have any kind of deviation where it kind of goes back away and down, or I go a little out of my way here and there to like stop and have like a beer. Hey, I was wondering, okay, so my screen just went blank like the screensaver, that really dates me. I guess they're still called screensavers, but my screen blanked out. I think it was just the screen, not the computer. I wonder if that blacked out for a second. I'm gonna need to check on that later. Okay, I hope my audio is not too high. I just saw it bounce into the red. I'm gonna back away from the microphone a little. Where was that? Oh yeah, my bike home to work. When I bicycle back and forth, like you've seen on previous videos, I'm not working that hard. My heart rate is in the pretty low heart rate. Like that would be considered that actual low heart rate training that seems to be all the rage in the running community right now. So that's what I'm treating that as. I'm not a cyclist. I need to really stress this because I'm gonna be typecasting myself if I keep making videos where I'm on my bicycle and you see my bike helmet. People think, oh, I'm a cyclist. No, I'm a runner. I am really a runner. The cycling is just like this side thing. I don't even use my those sexy tight bike shorts anymore. I have them. I used to have, I got jerseys. I can look like I'm in the Tour de France. If I want to suit up, but I don't bother with that anymore like I used to. I used to really have jersey that I wore to work, and then a separate jersey home because get a little bit sweaty, and yeah, two bike shorts and stuff, and it was just keeping up with that and laundering that stuff all the time. Well, I'd still launder the other clothes I ride in too, but they're just less substantial clothing. They're just my running tank tops, which are so light that they can wad up into my hand. They're just, it just doesn't seem, it doesn't like pile up in the laundry that bad. Doesn't make for large loads. I can still do small and medium on the washer. So yeah, so the bike to work, that's like, it is a lot of exercise. I consider it a workout, and it's kind of like 2 workouts, but it's not like long like a real cyclist. Real cyclists that really bike for exercise, they'll go for 30 miles at a whack and go faster. I'm just kind of treating that as like low heart rate exercise. So sometimes I'll actually run at work when I'm biking to work, if I got enough time to do that. All right, so bike to work, I did that a couple of days this week. Now Thursday morning, the 4.5 miles at 8:39 pace. That's what I'm shooting for these days. Excuse me. What I'm shooting for is to be in the 8.5 minute per mile as my just regular cruising pace. Because what it has been for the last 4 marathons that I ran this past year, I've never run 4 marathons in a 365, it's actually 366 day period. Because I ran 2 annual, the same marathon at the end of that period. So I'm kind of calling it 4 marathons in a year. It's actually a year and a day. But I was a little disappointed because I used to be a a little over 3 hour-ish marathoner. Never broke 3 hours, but I got really close a couple times. 3:02 is my record. 3:02 and some change. Done it twice. But all of my others are, 3 hours 15 minutes, 3 hours 20 something minutes. And then in later years, as of recent years, I got into the 4 hour range because I just wasn't running as fast and training very hard. That's like subject for another video, but I'm getting back in and I'm trying to train more regular, and I lost speed. I have theory about something that in recent few years that may have affected my speed, but I'm not sure. When you go from eating a high carb diet like I used to do to a low carb diet, they always say you need sugar to perform fast, and to run fast, to do like high output. Now, what's high output to one person is not high output to another. So, boy, that's a real gray area for me still. And I've watched a lot of people's content and theories about it. I think we're still kind of early in that realm, I think, when it comes to sports performance. Dr. Baker, he's all into the rowing and the Concept 2 rowing machine, which I have 2 of those, by the way. I don't use them as often as I should, but I should be incorporating those. It's really good for the lower back, which I have low back issues that creep up now and then. But he performs at a really high rate. He set Concept 2 records for himself in his age group, eating just a carnivore diet. Now, that's not really technically keto, I don't think, but he probably is in ketosis a lot of the time. And as I believe I am, with the amount of exercise that I do versus the amount of carbs I eat, I'm burning way the hell more energy exercising than I'm eating in carbs. So I'm pretty damn sure I'm in ketosis a lot of the time. So yeah, back to my pace goal. I'm actually having to work pretty hard. So this is kind of part of the record. This is why I'm doing this. and documenting what I'm eating and how I'm working out, is I'm looking for a pattern. This 8:39 pace, I have started to incorporate some speed work in just recent weeks to try to get my legs moving faster, so that 8:39 pace that you see there, and 8:36, I did 7.5 miles yesterday at 8:36 average. Now, another thing about this, it's kind of tainted my view. I can't really compare my old self to my new self. Yeah, my old self, meaning my not current. I'm older now. Boy, I need to work on my wording here. I've got to make this clear. Let me articulate this correctly. My younger self, my regular cruising pace through my neighborhood was like 7 minutes a mile, sometimes 6:48 or something. I was doing my 4 miles pretty damn quick. That was my daily maintenance mileage. And I did that for many years, from my 20s into my 30s. When I headed out my door, went down my driveway, and started my watch, I was finishing back at my house a 4-mile loop through my neighborhood in, what would that be? Sometimes 28 minutes and some seconds, and sometimes sub that. So I'd average 6 something instead of 7 something. And that was just normal to me. And that's what I always tried to run my marathons in. That's how when I did my 3:02s, that's downright 7-minute flat pace, in the marathon. It's getting there. 7 flat might actually break 3. But I always cratered. I always hit the wall and ended up suffering at the end of marathons. So I would always die off. I'd take off at 6:45s and run the first 6 miles or 7 miles, and then I just slowly lose it. That's how I rolled. Still kind of do that, but not near as bad. I have not yet run a negative split in a marathon, but boy, I'm getting closer. So I'm running a lot slower these days, and I'm trying to get my average pace back down into something where I can start. I would really like my next marathon this fall to be a 3. I really want a 3:45 or faster, really bad. So I need to start packing in the miles here. But anyway, that's what I'm after, and I need to do some speed work and keep consistent on my diet here. So that's kind of this. I'm just sort of rambling through this, people's, sorting out my thoughts. Yeah. Okay, the egregious one. I gotta touch on this. If you see this one on Friday, 1 homebrew beer plus dried fruitcake-ish crackers, and I ate too damn many of them. That was my bad one. So this last week, this is one where I'm like actually making a confession here. This was like, it was not planned really. So what that was not here at my house. I would not egregiously do that at my house. At least I would like to think I wouldn't. But an ice cream binge, I'm hoping I don't have to confess to one of those. But those have been my recent bad thing. I'll describe the ice cream binge in some other time. So the 1 homebrew beer, it was not mine. It was a friend. So every once in a while, the wife and I will go over to some friend's house, and another couple, and that gentleman homebrews beer, and I used to homebrew beer. So we get together with these people about maybe once every couple months. We'll go over and chit chat, and typically we would drink wine. We'd bring a bottle of wine, and they had to have some wine, so we would drink some of ours, and then we would drink some of theirs. It's a few glasses, and it's always, when I drink wine, it's red wine. I hear that's lower in carbs, not sure how low. But that one was, so I didn't eat dinner that night. So I was really crunched for time. That was the day I'd bike to work, as you can see there. And I remember, so I'm going to replay it. I ate my pound of beef and Kerrygold butter at lunch. And I did not have breakfast that morning. I'm pretty sure I did not have anything for breakfast. So yeah, I guarantee I didn't, because I was biking to work. So didn't really have enough time with how late I get up when I do that and make it to work on time. So I biked to work, fasted, which meaning I'm just meaning no breakfast. I didn't have breakfast, so just probably had a decaf cup of coffee or something, maybe a real cup of coffee, and with a little half and half. That's the most I probably had before I started my bike to work. And then I ate my pound of beef, which would be, 1,000 calories plus the Kerrygold butter. When I have butter with my pound of beef, I'm probably eating at least 2 tablespoons, and probably more like 3. So that'd probably be 300 calories if you're a calorie counter of Kerrygold butter. And Kerrygold is a brand, by the way, I think everybody knows about it. I don't know if they sell it all over the world or not, but it's Irish butter, supposed to be hippie grass-fed cows. Anyway, that's the butter I get and eat. So that'd be 1,000 calories, probably 1,300 calories if it's all accurate, if the labeling on the packaging is all accurate. So 1,300 calories for that amount of activity for the day is not very much. That's why I'm a big believer in the carnivore and keto diet. When you're not eating carbs, it's hard to overeat, because protein and fat really sends the signal to the brain that you're full. When you're done, you're done. I tell you what, it's hard for me anyway. I don't know about you, but I cannot sit down and eat 2,500 calories of beef. It's tough, really tough. So I've tried. I've tried. I've tried to do the 1 meal a day thing. It was tough. Now I haven't tried it in a while, but when I first went keto, I really tried to do that. Got into the intermittent fasting right away, and found out it's easy to overeat pizza, all the carbs. It's easy to overeat ice cream because it's like maybe half carbs. I don't know, but the carbs do not seem to give the signal to stop eating. That's why you can just binge forever. So anyway, back to my egregious cheat at the end. So when my ride home, it's in the 50-ish minutes or so, or close to an hour, depending on a few factors that can happen. I'm biking home during rush hour. And I had told the couple that we would be at their house 7 o'clock and 7 p.m. And boy, we were about 10 minutes late. So I had no time to eat anything before we left the house. Got home, jumped in the shower, got cleaned up, changed clothes, and got to their house. And I was fine. I was not hungry. Wasn't feeling famished or anything. And I thought, okay. And I was kind of planning, what am I going to drink? I don't want to consume too many carbs while we're there. So I don't want to drink a whole bunch of wine. Besides, had an early morning run the next morning. As you can see, Saturday, run 7.53 miles at 8:36. I'm meeting people. I've got this small little gaggle of people that run with on Thursdays and Saturdays early morning. So I was meeting those people at 7 o'clock in the morning the next morning. So I really wanted to not drink at all. So when we got there, the gentleman had been home brewing some beer, and he had 1 bottle left, or 2 bottles left, one for him, one for me, from his previous batch. And he said, would you like one of my home brewed beers? I got two left, and we can each drink one tonight. And I was like, okay, because that's kind of like it's a thing. It takes a lot of work brewing beer, and it's a nice ritual. And I totally understood. And I was like, okay. So I was going to drink the one beer, and I did. We poured a glass. It was wonderful. It was kind of like I think it's just a regular lager. I don't know how many grams of carbs. I mean, probably about the same that would be in a Budweiser, maybe like a Bud Light. I'm not sure how many grams of carbs are in that, but I'm going to assume it was more, just because of the taste, I would say it was probably more carbs than a Bud Light, but maybe not as many as the Bud Regular, or what they kind of call Bud Heavy. But I don't know. But that was one. But I just drank the one and didn't drink anything else. There was wine on the table, red wine. I didn't drink any wine. But what was on the table, and the wife had brought this stuff. My wife is not a low carb dieter. She had brought all this stuff to make a charcuterie board. There was like a little block of cheese. There was like one of the summer sausage type of things, logs. But there was this package of these they're like little dehydrated pieces of bread. It's what they looked like, little slices of bread, and they're hard like a cracker, kind of thick. But embedded in it was nuts and dried fruit. So this was like a crunchy, maybe you'd call it a biscuit, or like in the coffee world, a scone. But that's what it was. It was like it crunched. And I looked on the package, and there were 5 servings in that package. And it was like two little plastic bins together. There was like a clump of them here and a clump of them there. I tried to count them. I'm like, how many of these can I have? Because after drinking that beer, I was starting to get a rumbly in the tumbly, as Winnie the Pooh used to say. I was getting kind of like, I sure would like to eat something. And I'm a little hungry. I could have done the fasting thing and ran over to the sink and got a glass of water and like just drank a big glass of water, and the hunger would have gone away. I guarantee it. Because that's how I did when I was fasting. It's like, feel hungry? Drink a glass of water. Then I'm fine for another hour or two, whatever. But I didn't do that. We were like sitting there jibber jabbering away about things. And I was like, okay. I think I'm just going to nibble on one of those cracker things. So I sit there and I take tiny little bites, and it's real crunchy. And so I'm sitting there like nibbling on it. And then it became like a compulsive thing. I finished the one, and then I'm sitting there looking at them, and I'm like, oh, jeez. Okay, 2. From the math, I think 2 or maybe 3 of them, 4 max, was a serving. And that was in the double digits of carbs. It was probably like the cup of whole milk level of carbs in a serving of those things. Something, I don't know. I'm trying to block it out because this was bad. And I knew I was going to need to confess this in a video. So I had that in mind. It's like, okay, I'm not going to forget this because I'm really stressing about this. So I compulsively ate probably, I would say, half of them, because the wife probably had a couple of them. And the other couple had 1 or 2 of them. But the rest, I ate the rest of them. Terrible. Anyway, that was my egregious carb failing. I'd call it a failing because I don't want to do this stuff. I don't want to purposely eat this stuff. Okay, I need to put another one. And when I say an egregious failing, this other one was kind of built in. And I'm going to put it in right now because I totally can't believe I forgot this. We go out for breakfast. When I meet these people on Saturday, we always go out for breakfast after. We run, and then, we'll hit a restaurant. And we've been going to, recently, we've hit this place several times. They've got really good breakfasts. It's a restaurant called Aurora here in Oklahoma City, and I get the same thing every time. It's their breakfast burger. Okay, Aurora breakfast burger. Now, the carb on it is the bun. Now, I substitute the side. The side dish is some homemade chips. So they're like, I think they were like a real thick potato chip. If I remember, because I got them one time when we first went there. But the last time before this last one, yesterday, the waitress actually asked me, would I like to substitute the chips for something? Just when I said I want the breakfast burger. The breakfast burger is a hamburger with a fried egg on it and bacon, and it's got the bun, and the bun has a jelly on it that is pretty sweet. So I know that's a few grams of carbs there for sure. But she asked if I wanted to swap out the chips for bacon. And when you offer me bacon instead of like a carb, I'm like, sure. And what's very nice is I don't think that they increase the price on that. Usually, when you order an extra side of bacon, that's a few dollars at anywhere. So anyway, I thought that was very nice. So this time I did the same thing. I said, hey, do you mind substituting those chips for something else, like I'll take anything, another egg or bacon, whatever, just so the chips aren't there. So yesterday I did eat the bun on that burger. So yeah, I don't know how many grams of carbs it is, but it's quite a lot. It might have been as bad as that, as those dried fruit cake-ish crackers. Yeah. So this week in review, yeah, I had a couple of what I consider kind of failings. Yeah, going out to eat is always the challenge, isn't it? Things, you get these, things are like in packages. You get this whatever entree, and it may come with dinner rolls, or comes with fried potatoes, or whatever the thing is. And when I go out to eat, this is kind of my philosophy. I always hated altering a restaurant's signature dishes. You go there for what they offer, and that's what makes them unique. And so I'm always like, well, I would like to experience what the visionary for that restaurant is that what they wanted you to experience, whatever the food combination of flavors or whatever, because that's what makes that restaurant that restaurant. So I like to ask them to alter their stuff as little as possible. That's just always kind of how I rolled when it comes to that, because I'm like, hey, I'm going out to experience what someone else's vision is. That's why we're there. And so yeah, I've never been one of those people that was comfortable saying, okay, just give me the patty only with nothing on it. It's like, well, hell, that's just meat from the grocery store, and you've completely taken out the whole restaurant vibe and everything that is. So anyway, since I don't have any big food allergies, and that's why, if you do, by all means, have them strip out everything, if you're just out there with friends, for the camaraderie or whatever, and you would never set foot in there, to begin with. Yeah, you do you. That's what I'm saying. That's like on my little marquee here that I have. You do you. That's my philosophy. What I'm telling you here is just whatever I do. And, just laying it out there and telling you my experiences with it. That's the whole goal of my channel here. We're Diet Rebel Scum. Even with our failings here, we are still rebelling against the dietary guidelines, because even with my failings here, I mean, I think I'm still in the low carb category, because that is such a small, still a very small percentage of my total calories in a day. Because when I go eat my eggs, I get hippie backyard eggs. I eat 5 at a time minimum. I don't have a 3-egg omelet. I have a 5 or 6 egg omelet. Yeah, and I put cheese in there too. It's, may add a few grams of carbs depending on the cheese, but it is still way overwhelming protein and fat compared to my carbs. Back in my vegetarian days, this amount of carbs, I would laugh about that. I would eat all the carbs I ate this whole last week would have been like 1/3 of my breakfast. I ate probably 3,000 calories a day in sugar. What things that turned to sugar. and sugar. Excuse me. Okay, I need to wrap this up. I think that's it for this check-in. I may have drawn this out a little too long, but this is almost another kind of get to know me session. And yeah, I'm gonna get pretty comfortable with this. Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and end this. Remember, you do you, I'll do me, and then together we'll see what we will see. We'll check in next time. I may, if I ride my bike to work tomorrow, you might hear from me tomorrow, and we'll make a promise to not do these damn egregious things. I will not grab a candy bar off anybody's desk. That's what I'm going to do. See, we have a lady at work. She, like, in her cubicle, she always has Butterfinger little bite-sized candy bars, that you give out for Halloween to the children. And oh my God, Twix is my favorite candy bar of all time. That and Kit Kats, boy, it's a tie between those two. They go back and forth for favorites. But yeah, she may have it varies, and then little Dove chocolates. Yeah, I hate walking by that and seeing that. Okay, but I will not grab them. Nope, nada, nope. And if I do, I will confess it. All right, until next time.